Good morning, good afternoon. This is Bobby Narang. I'm one of the co-founders here at OpenSense. We're just going to give our guests another minute or so to hop into the lobby here before we get started. But just want to say again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to find out a little bit more about OpenSense. We're excited to have the chance to share some more. All right, it's 10:03 Pacific time. I'm Bobby. Great to have you today, and excited to share with you a little bit more about not just OpenSense, but what we believe about email and specifically employee email. So let's go ahead and get started. All righty, so let's talk about email signatures, your best marketing and brand channel. But before we get into email signatures, which for those of you who we met in Boston, I know a common refrain was, "Wow, that's so niche." Well, we believe that email signatures and the channel that email signatures activates is one of the most important when it comes to your email marketing strategy. But let's first just talk about email in general. And when we think about email, I think it's easy to immediately start thinking about the messages that have probably been bombarding your inbox since you got home from inbound. The email marketing emails, the blasts that come out of Marketing Hub or Marketo or Pardot or whatever the case might be. Uh, Email marketing, we know, is an incredibly important part of demand generation and driving pipeline. But that's not really where OpenSense lives and breathes. We actually live and breathe in a category of email that we call it employee email, or think of it as handwritten emails. The messages that employees are composing and sending on a day-to-day basis. And just think about so far this morning or early afternoon, what are the messages that you've sent just in the normal course of conducting your business? Well, that's an opportunity that OpenSense believes is worth really paying attention to and taking advantage of. And to kind of paint a picture for you, again, why do we think email signatures are the next big thing for your marketing strategy? Well, it kind of goes to a concept that we've developed called the email value pyramid. Okay, and so I want to sort of take a second here and just share with you again what we believe and why we believe it in terms of the value of that handwritten, that one-to-one email. And to build that, we want to start at the bottom here. So the bottom of the email value pyramid, as we've defined it, is it's those messages that I just mentioned that have probably been bombarding your inbox. And anytime you're using the word bombarding in describing an email engagement, that's probably indicative of its overall value. These tend to be the messages that we send maybe every month as a part of our product updates or our newsletters or our promoting of a webinar or following up after an event. Easy to initiate at mass and at scale. And as a result of that, their impact is very acute. In fact, we know that if you've really nailed it, you might get 20% open rate with some percentage of people actually clicking through. And frankly, over time, that adds up. But in terms of the day to day, these are messages that are pretty easy to ignore. The next level up is we consider to be the semi-handwritten email, which, kind of an interesting way to describe it. But these ones are the ones that, for those of you on the marketing side, you've probably created some templated sequences for your SDRs or BDRs to execute out of HubSpot Sales Hub, or maybe I'll use Outreach or SalesLoft or Groove. These have the feel of like a one-to-one email, but they're kind of at scale, meaning you generally are enrolling, 10, 50, or 100 people into these sequenced messages. Um, they tend to perform a little bit better because, again, they have that sort of one-to-one feel. But savvy buyers can kind of tell when they're being targeted with an email sequence. But that's where that sort of the top of the value pyramid is this concept of the handwritten email. Again, when I send an email to someone that I met at inbound, they remember me. They open that message. And frankly, if I've made a good impression, they trust to open that message and they trust me. That's kind of one of the key elements of handwritten or that one-to-one employee email that OpenSense believes presents an incredible opportunity for marketers to really leverage and take advantage of. And to kind of illustrate the concept here again of really leveraging the trusted relationships of your employees just in their day-to-day work, we want to talk a little bit about the opportunity here. So an average employee will send roughly, call it 40 emails in a day. If you extrapolate that out, that's roughly 10,000 emails sent by every employee every single year. For every 100 employees, you're looking at about 1 million emails that are being composed and sent just on normal day-to-day business. So even if you did nothing today to take advantage of this, this email channel exists. And depending on how big your organization is, it could potentially be massive. And so that's where OpenSense provides what we believe to be functionality that allows you to really capture the value of this channel of emails that's present. On one side of it is guarding your brand. And I imagine some of you have registered to speak with us today because you've likely tried to standardize your email signatures and you send an email out, maybe you built a Word document and people, maybe they do it or do it incorrectly, or maybe they just ignore you altogether. And that can be really painful and frustrating, especially when you see some of the pictures of the cats or inspirational quotes or whatever the case might be within your email signature. So OpenSense has a solution that can standardize, operationalize, and automate your email signature management everywhere, whether it's Outlook, Gmail, mobile devices, HubSpot sequences, Outreach, you name it. But the other side of the coin is the opportunity to grow the funnel. And the reason that this is important is that when you embed content in the form of links or banners beneath your email signature, it turns out they're pretty darn engaging. You can see in this example here that we have this beautiful animated banner. You think about how eye-catching that is. Well, as it turns out, between 4 and 7% on average of your recipients will actually click on content that you're embedding within an email signature. And the neat thing about that is that as marketers, you probably have already thought intuitively that this is the case. Whether it's an event banner, hey, we're going to be at inbound sales team, can you add this to your email signature? Or, hey, we want your feedback. Can you fill out this NPS survey, CS team? Like, can you add that to your signature? These are questions that you've likely asked your team today because you intuitively know that there's value here. Well, OpenSense provides you the tooling needed to never have to ask anyone again, but to very easily assign a survey banner to your customer success team or an event banner to your SDR and BDR team or whatever the case might be. Now, I think that we can deliver a lot of incremental value just by activating the email signatures to drive engagement to your top performing call to action. But when you want to take it a step further, with our integration with HubSpot, or frankly, any CRM or marketing automation platform, the data in HubSpot can actually tell OpenSense what banner someone should see. And that works for email sent from anywhere. So imagine a scenario where you're working a deal with a VP of sales and a CMO, and in real time, HubSpot can tell OpenSense to deliver a um, case study to the CMO referencing our deployment at Snowflake, whereas the VP of sales would see a banner that talks about the ROI and how OpenSense activates a channel for HubSpot sequences. So that ability to really personalize and scale out your content is something that generally we do in sort of a phase 2 or phase 3 type approach with our customers, but that is really, really valuable. And how do we know it's valuable? Well, this isn't a platform that's just designed to look nice. It is a performance platform. And what I mean by that is OpenSense provides data and analytics into not just impressions and clicks, not just UTM parameter attribution, which all available out of the box, but down to the individual recipient who is actually clicking and engaging. And imagine the power of being able to have a click from a key decision maker trigger some type of workflow, maybe for your gifting platform, or putting them in a list for a AE to reach out to, or even just notifying an AE. These are some of the things that we're going to help you to explore and unlock and achieve with OpenSense. We met at Inbound, but the key thing I want to make sure you all are aware of is for some of you, HubSpot is ubiquitous across your tech stack. For others, it may be a part of your tech stack. OpenSense integrates everywhere. It's one of the things that our customers love about our platform is that you've made investments into these tools. We can help you to garner additional value out of those investments, whether it's by applying signatures to email sent from those tools. So like if you use something like a front or an outreach, OpenSense works perfectly there. Or if it's having those tools tell OpenSense what banners to show a recipient. That's another way that we generally will integrate. And then before we look at the platform, I just want you all to know about OpenSense. We've been around for roughly 11 years now. And given the capability, the flexibility, the analytics, and frankly, the service that OpenSense provides, we've earned the opportunity to serve companies that look like you. We have experience across different verticals, industry segments, sizes, objectives, tech stacks, you name it. So I wanted to start today by just providing you a little bit of an overview of who we are. And now I want to sort of pivot and show you a little bit about sort of how we actually do it. So I'm going to toggle over to the OpenSense portal, and we're going to keep this really high level today. However, we'd love the opportunity, if it's interesting to you, to tailor a demo to your environment and your needs. But at a really high level, let me just quickly show you. This is called our Designer Studio. Key things to know here is you may need different templates for different teams. We are a full service organization, meaning we will actually collaborate with you to build your email signature templates. And what's really neat about that is it's not just sort of a fully customized experience that's email optimized for your signature, but it's also the ability to create things like reply templates. Like imagine the finesse of being able to demonstrate that you can control not only the initial signature, but subsequent messages in the thread. Without getting too much into the weeds, that's something that some of our customers really love and really appreciate about the platform. We can standardize any field. So if you want to facilitate things like pronouns or meeting links or credentials, OpenSense is equipped to be able to accommodate that for your users on all of their devices. If I click into the marketing dropdown here, this is probably where you're going to spend a majority of your time when you're managing OpenSense, because once the actual signatures are set up, the only thing that really changes on a day-to-day basis are the banners themselves. And managing your banners is insanely easy. So at a very high level, we have a view here that kind of shows you the different creatives that are currently in rotation, as well as some high-level analytics. The actions that are included here, let me go ahead and show you what this looks like. So how do we go about uploading banners? It's really quite simple. So these are just images, so we can support PNGs, JPEG, the animated GIFs, GIFs, don't want to offend anybody. It supports all image types, which is neat. And then we'll provide you best practices in terms of how to shape them and size them, etc. The UTMs. So again, if you're satisfied with this just performing with attribution, just like any other channel, that's easy. We can do that. And then this is where things I think get really exciting for you, the marketer. So the power of just quickly setting and forgetting. So I can set up my schedule for this banner. You can see this one's running from the 27th to the 18th of this month. And then the tags. So who do I want this to go live for? Well, guess what? I want this to go live for my sales team. So I'm just going to type the word sales, and this is now live for my sales team. I want to have this live for my success team. So I'm going to type in success, and now that's live for my success team. That's how easy it is to activate your banners. And you can have multiple banners. They can display in rotation. You can run some simple A/B tests as well, which is what I want to show you here. So this channel is going to help sort of lower funnel engagement throughout the funnel, but think about the impact of driving, say, stage specific content within a deal cycle. Well, what if you needed to optimize which content performs the best at a given stage? I'm going to show you an example of how I would run an A/B test here on two pieces of creative that we created for inbound. We have inbound 24 pre, which is this banner here. We also have inbound 24 pre-banner, which is our second banner, which we can now see down here. And what's really powerful is now I can very easily see definitively which one of these pieces of creative drove the most impact over time. This just helps me to further optimize how my banners should look, how we expect them to perform, and really allows me to get the most out of this channel with just a couple of clicks. So at a really high level, that's OpenSense. We help customers take advantage of what we believe to be an incredibly high value channel, which is one-to-one employee email. We empower you to finally get that look and feel that you've been desiring for every employee to have on every device and every email platform. And then we empower you to activate that as a digital marketing channel that performs just like any other channel that you have in your stack today, with incredibly robust tools as well as the robust data, such as who down to the individual recipient is clicking. So I'm Bobby. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to talk you through a little bit about OpenSense. I'd love to spend the next couple minutes taking some questions. So feel free to drop questions in the Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And if there are no questions, we can totally wrap up early today. But I'll stick around here for the next 5 or 7 minutes, and if there are any questions that pop up, I'm more than happy to address them. Oh, how difficult is it to integrate with HubSpot? Victoria, thanks for asking that. It is a one-click OAuth integration. And so the two ways that we integrate with HubSpot, number one is the ability to have HubSpot tell us what data, or excuse me, what banner someone should see. That is a one-click OAuth integration. And then you just need to tell OpenSense what field to look at on any given contact. And we can even look at multiple fields if needed. Everything that we do is full service. So when you work with us, our dedicated account managers will be working collaboratively with you to understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish, and we'll help to build the plumbing to make that something that scales out. Jess is asking, how involved is the integration with Outlook? So we generally work with two stakeholders at our customer. Number one, the marketing team, obviously. Number two is the IT team. IT is going to want to know a little bit about us, that we're SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, US-based company. And then we're going to be leaning on them to help us get OpenSense integrated within your environment. The integration process takes about 45 minutes or less. And OpenSense is designed to be a one-time engagement with IT, and then the keys get really tossed over to marketing to be able to operate on a go-forward basis. So absolutely, IT would need to be involved. They're going to want to vet us. But again, we work with organizations like Salesforce and SAP, so we're really buttoned up on that side, and we're really hands-on on the integration side. And so, like I said, once that's done, generally it's something that can be controlled by IT, or excuse me, by marketing. Jess has another great question. Do the links embed trigger or blacklist one-to-one emails? Great question. So there's a lot of, I think, the word misinformation is a funny one to use in 2024, but I'm going to use it. Misinformation, I think, about what causes emails to go onto blacklists. Key thing to know for OpenSense is that as a part of the setup, we create white labeled URLs for all images and links that are present within your email signature. And what's interesting is that recipient mail servers, a little bit of voodoo here, they don't like seeing mismatching domains when they're receiving emails from an individual, such as like imagine if my banner was hosted at Imager.com or Shutterfly.com or GooglePhotos.com. Well, if I'm sending an email from OpenSense, why is there all these links with Shutterfly and Imager in it? That's kind of what the recipient mail server is seeing, and that tends to make it seem spammy and can trigger the blacklist. We do a lot of things on the authentication side to ensure that that process doesn't occur downstream. I mean, it's one of the reasons, for instance, at Salesforce, 40,000 of their employees have OpenSense banners, is because we have a really robust and effective way at ensuring that the emails remain in the inbox. Anonymous attendee, what is the process for individuals to customize the info that appears in the signature? Do they have the capability? And if so, would it occur with an Outlook where they need to log into OpenSense? They do not need to log into OpenSense. It's one of the really powerful elements of our approach here, which I will reshare my screen because I think this is a really important thing. Like, you don't want people having to do a whole lot of extra work in order to get the outcomes that they're looking for. So within Outlook, for example, this is how a user could potentially update their information. All of this is customizable, by the way, but just to kind of like, so for instance, you can also not expose this to a user. But when I click into my settings tab here, you can see that my company has given me the ability to observe and potentially modify some fields that are present within my email signature. And this process is totally customizable. But let's say I got promoted and I'm no longer called partner, but I'm now called partner director. I can make that change directly in Outlook, hit update, and that will then be present on my signature going forward. As the administrator, you can lock and unlock fields. You can also audit all of these changes and centrally dictate changes as well. So hopefully that answers your question. That was a great rapid fire. I really appreciate those questions. Are there any more that I can potentially address before we wrap up today? How bulletproof and consistent is the rendering? Great question. Email is an imperfect medium, and the way that Outlook renders email signatures might be different compared to the way that Apple Mail configures signatures, etc. OpenSense is going to, as a part of your onboarding, work collaboratively with you to build custom-built templates. A part of that process is actually QAing those templates across 132 different email clients. So from a bulletproofing standpoint, across those 132 devices, we can say with some definitive confidence that your signatures will be bulletproof. We also do some really nice things to optimize for things like dark mode as well. But again, just in general, email is not as robust and, dare I say, reliable as, like, say, Chrome at rendering HTML. But that's one of the reasons that we're very hands-on. If you're investing in a signature tool, it may seem easy to just drag and drop, and why doesn't that just work? Well, there's a process that's involved in optimizing HTML for the variety of email clients that might be present, and that's a big part of working with us, is we'll make sure that that's the case. Great questions. We'll give it another minute here if there are any other questions, but this is super engaging. I really appreciate y'all taking some time to not only join, but I love these types of questions. I think they're exactly the right questions to be asking. Cool. Well, we'll give it another minute, but if there are no other questions, we're gonna wrap up. I really appreciate. Oh, I want to mention, my colleague Liana is going to be reaching out to those of you who've made it today to see if there's some interest in maybe taking a little bit of a one-to-one deeper dive. In those conversations, we'll take a look at your tech stack. We'll tailor a demo to your objectives and what you're trying to accomplish, and show you how we might work in your environment. So keep your lookout for an email from Liana. She should be reaching out at some point later today. How many templates and styles are available out of the box? Can a developer do something more custom? Dozens are available out of the box. You have full access to the HTML to develop yourself, but you also have full access to OpenSense. Again, we're hands-on. That's a part of working with us. Part of your contract is full design services are included with OpenSense as well. Great question. Cool. Well, if there's nothing else, again, thank you so much for attending, and we will be in touch here shortly.